Hi there, I'm Danny from Firepole Marketing, and in this Naked Marketing Audit video, you're going to learn some really interesting things. You're going to learn about Gini and Jeff's book bomb marketing campaign for Marketing in the Round. You're going to learn about the unexpected target customer that they didn't even realize they were writing the book for. You're going to learn about the cycle of commitment and reward that they didn't even realize they were creating for their readers, but they were doing it and it was right there, and you'll learn all about it in this video. And you're going to learn what was the most unexpectedly difficult part of this entire book launch campaign for Gini. So it's a fantastic video. There's a lot of great information here for you, and we're really excited to share it with you. This video is part of the Naked Marketing Audit video series, which is showcasing what businesses are doing right in their marketing so you can learn, and what they can be doing better so you can learn. They're bearing all for your benefit, which is what Gini is doing, figuratively speaking, and very much appreciated. If you want to learn more, if you want to see the other audits in the series, if you want to understand the framework that is being used throughout this audit process, you should check out my free Naked Marketing Manifesto. You can get it. It's completely free. You don't even need to opt in with a name or email address. Just go to bit.ly/get-naked and grab your copy. And it's already been downloaded and shared thousands of times. So join a wonderful club and grab your copy. And without further ado, let's dive right in to the audit process with Gini. Here we go.
With Gini Dietrich. She is the CEO and I believe founder of Armin Dietrich. She blogs at SpinSucks. She is the marketing and PR genius behind SpinSucks Pro. She is the author of a brand new, or I should say co-author of a brand new awesome book called Marketing in the Round that I had the pleasure of reading a couple of weekends ago. I was up north at a long weekend and had a great time reading it. In addition to being like, you can do all these other things. So if anyone's giving me a run for my money as like superhumanly productive, it's you. So, but I still appreciate you.
I don't know though. I'm not sure I'm answering emails from 7,000 people every day. So you definitely give me a run for my money. Right. So I have clones. I don't know about
let's talk about marketing in the round. That's what we're here to talk about. So let's start with this. Tell us a little bit of what is marketing in the round. What is this book about? Give us the pitch. Sell us all on this amazing book.
So Jeff Livingstone is the co-author. He and I really looked at, we didn't want to write another social media book, and we really looked at what's missing in the marketing industry. And we discovered a couple of things. Number one, chief marketing officers only stay in their positions for between 28 and 42 months, so just a little over 2 years to just a little less than 4 years, which is really kind of scary, especially with somebody at a really high senior level position like that. And we discovered the reason being is because it's really difficult to measure a lot of the things that we do in marketing communication. And then we also discovered that people were still having we need a Twitter strategy, or now we need a Pinterest strategy, instead of figuring out how to work those tools or whatever tools are available into a bigger marketing strategy. So it's a marketing book, and we hope it has legs beyond, the next 2 or 3 years, because it's really about integrating all of the disciplines: advertising, direct marketing, PR, word of mouth, brand ambassadors, social media, the groundswell, all that into one big strategy.
Which is what marketing is actually supposed to do.
Right. Unfortunately, not a lot of companies do it or do it well. So
it's what you call uncommon common sense, unfortunately.
Right. That whole common sense thing.
So who's the ideal customer? Who's the target reader for this book? Who do you want to reach in your marketing?
It's funny, we thought that the target customer was other marketing, PR, advertising professionals, but we've discovered that business leaders are reading it. I have a client who bought 150 copies and sent it to all of his clients because he felt like, as business leaders, they needed to understand how to break down organizational silos and work as a team in a round, versus having the hierarchy of, you have the CEO and then you have the senior vice presidents and the vice presidents, and down on like that. So we thought that was, we were sort of limited to PR, marketing, advertising professionals, but have discovered that business leaders are reading it as well.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Expands the audience, right?
So what are you doing to get their attention? You've got the marketing professionals, you've got these business leaders now who've kind of expanded as a second segment. What are you doing to get their attention? The ones that they've never heard of you, they're not aware of the book yet. How do you get on their radar?
There are people who haven't heard of us?
Well, it's only been a few weeks.
We've done a few things. It's been right now. I feel like it still is. What's the word I want? It's still our network. I don't think it's expanded quite beyond our network yet. We've done some webinars with Radian 6. We did a webinar for ProfNet. We're doing one next week. So that expands our network. The Huffington Post did a great review on it, so that expands our network. So it's really, he and I both have traditional PR backgrounds. And then he took his background and went more into the direct marketing realm, and I went more into the marketing communication, how do we measure results from a PR perspective realm. So we have sort of a holistic look at all of it, and so we're using that experience to do it. So we've done everything from email marketing and blog posts to traditional media relations, and we've done some advertising. The only thing we haven't done is radio. So, but other than that,
Is that by choice or just that's how it worked out?
It's just kind of worked out that way. And, I don't really want to sit on the phone calling radio producers. So.
Sure, and with a face like yours, why waste it on a radio, right?
Oh, thanks.
But so of all the things that you've done, what have you found worked really well, whether you expected it to or it exceeded your expectations, and what either, it was, I don't think it'll work, but I'll try it, and it really didn't work very well, or you expected it to work well, but it didn't work as well as you thought it would? Kind of what were the stars and what were the, I don't know if I'll do this again next time, or I'll do it differently?
Well, the star definitely was what I'll call the book bomb. So throughout the process, we were told that May 10th is the date that it would be in Amazon and Barnes & Noble and the bookstores would all have it by May 10th. So we chose May 14th as our book bomb date as sort of the launch. And not sort of launch, for the launch. We chose an hour. I can't remember now if it was 11 to 12 or 12 to 1 Central Time, but I can't remember. We chose an hour and we said, okay, if you buy books in this hour, we're going to do a few things. If we hit number 1 on Amazon, so we had like all these key milestones where I got to actually throw a pie in Jeff's face because we hit some of our milestones, which is.
Is that on YouTube?
No, but we have pictures of it on Facebook, so
enough.
I can share them for sure.
That would have totally gone viral. What were you thinking?
It was awesome. He was like, he was we were both in suits, so he had to change his clothes and put on shorts before I did it, but it was awesome. So yeah, that worked really, really, really well. I think we probably sold more books that day than we have in the 3 weeks combined that it's been out. So that works really well. What didn't work well? I would say we didn't have a huge concerted effort in making sure that bloggers and reviews all went up at the same time. Mm-hmm. We have more, it's sort of trickling out, which the publisher tells us is okay because it's a marathon, not a sprint. But I think I would have liked to see a more concerted effort toward organizing that so it all came out at once.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for sharing that. I think this is something I try to tell people all the time, whether it's through the blog or in conversations. It's that, being really good at this doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you know what questions to ask and you know how to kind of iterate and improve quickly. So
right.
Thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
So tell me this, you're getting people's attention. You did the book bomb. That's something that, is going to spread. You're doing these webinars. How are you presenting what you're offering to connect with this deeply felt need on the part of your target reader, which is, the executive or the marketing professional? What is that need that you're tapping into?
I'm trying to decide how to answer that because I think there's probably 3 different needs.
Give me all 3. I've got time.
I think the first is it really is about breaking down organizational silos because right now most companies function in silos, and it may very well be that you feel like you're what we call a functional silo where you work as a team and you're very collaborative and everybody, you work in cubicle farms or whatever and you're all talking to one another, but you're doing it for one client or one industry or one product, and you're not doing it as a whole company. So that's what we call the functional silo. And then you have the lonely silos, which is typical in startups where you are so focused on delivering results to customers so that you can grow, you forget about all the other things. So you're not talking to your your accounting partner, and you're not talking to your HR partner, and you're not talking to your team. You're just moving forward to get all this stuff done. So I think that's one of the big needs is how do we break down these silos, and how do we get over the idea that this has to happen and people are going to fight us every step of the way. So that's number one. Number two is really how do we integrate social into a bigger marketing program, because you're on the blog, in the blogosphere, you see what people are saying. People are like, how do we do this? I don't know how to do this. I don't have time. I don't know how to measure it. So we talk about 4 approaches and how to choose which one of those approaches or a combination of those approaches to figure out how to integrate all that. And then the third is measuring it, because, one of my favorite things is what's the ROI of your mom? And not to say that everything has to be attributed to sales, but Jeff brings a non-for-profit look at things, and I bring a for-profit look at things. So we always look at 3 things. Is your margin, or are your revenues increasing? Is your margin improved, or have we shortened your sales cycle? And shortening the sales cycle could very well be brand awareness and credibility and thought leadership. It doesn't necessarily have to drive specific numbers in terms of revenue. So we want to look at one of those 3 things and really, from a for-profit perspective, and really figure out what kinds of things are we doing to hit at least one of those goals.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So was that 2 or 3?
That was 3.
That was 3. Awesome. They blend together so well. So this is my favorite part of this process, because I think this is the core of how good marketing works. I explain in the manifesto, and every good marketer does this. It's a process of giving people a reason and opportunity to make a commitment that pushes the relationship a little bit further. Right. And then exceeding their expectations, rewarding them for that commitment, and then asking for another commitment, a bigger commitment. So you keep escalating that cycle of commitment and reward. So can you talk us through what that cycle looks like with marketing in the round, which is, of course, it's one stage in that process, right? But and your book bomb is a great example of this. It's like, yes, you can buy the book, but then there's all these other things. Talk us through kind of what that cycle, what that maybe staircase looks like.
You're just gonna stump me. I hate to say this, but I think it depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're a nonprofit organization, your cycle is going to be different than a for-profit organization. So, because my experience is on the for-profit side and on the B2B side as well, we don't do any consumer work, and I haven't, since I started my business 7 years ago. So I would say that it's really, it really depends. I'm like trying to think about it from a client's perspective. Let's come back to that, because okay. I want to think it through in terms of.
Well, let's talk through it. It's an interesting exploration. So you've got your target reader who is either a marketing professional, right, or they're the executive in the company.
Right.
And they first hear about your book, let's say they're invited to attend a webinar, for example.
Sure.
Or they're on your list, in which case there's already a bit more of a trust. So
right.
The commitment they're asked for is an hour of their time.
Yeah.
And it's low commitment, because it's not like they're in a physical space. They can just change the window or clock out
right.
if they want.
Right.
So they show up on the webinar, and you deliver phenomenal value, as only Gini Dietrich can. with the assistance of her trusty co-author.
Right.
You deliver phenomenal value, and whether you explicitly say it or not, they kind of get the message that if you like all this, if you find this valuable, well, look, we've got this whole book, and it's like 15 or 25 or whatever dollars on Amazon. It's not like a big significant expense. This might be able to really do something of value for you. You might want to go grab it and check it out. So they go onto Amazon, which is an easy thing to do. They pull out their wallets. It's a high friction thing relatively, but it's a low cost thing. They order the book, and it arrives. It arrives to them quickly, sent by Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And that offer of, buy my book is then supplemented by, and watch me throw a pie in Jeff's face, and all these other perks that, it's all, you keep stacking this value on top of the original offer.
Yeah.
But they get the book, they read the book, and it's a phenomenal book, right? They get usable stuff that they can apply in their business right away. They can actually change and fix some of the problems that they're seeing day in and day out. Maybe the marketing executive is like, okay, this is it. This is the recipe I need to live past those 42 months in this job. That would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic, yeah.
And so that's that kind of cycle. And it's, the trouble with being a really good marketer is that we do it all intuitively.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to spell it out. That's why that's part of why I'm doing these. It's to kind of parse and spell this out as an example for people who are, because my audience is, they're amateur marketers, they're business owners, and they're really smart people, but they're not trained as marketers.
Right.
And so we get to kind of flesh out these processes, which I find a lot of fun.
It's interesting because you're right. I hadn't actually thought of it from that stair step. And the nice thing about it is in the book there are worksheets. And I saw a friend of mine night before last, and he said, I feel like it's a guidebook. Like you're saying to people, here's what you need to do, and it's at the end of each chapter. So if you fill out these worksheets and you do this work, then it's going to push you to the next level. So even throughout the book, you have to be willing to take the time to do it. I mean, it's not easy work, and
homework is a big commitment.
Yeah, homework's a huge commitment, but it works if you do it. So
yeah, and you're asking for it after you've asked for something and then over-delivered several times.
Right. Interesting. I had never actually thought about it that way, because you're right. I think from our perspective, it comes so intuitively that we just do it and not really think about it from a, stair step, commit, over-deliver, commit, over-deliver.
So they get the book, they get the content, which is great. Then you say, okay, I've got another commitment for you. It's totally worth it, but it's a commitment. Do this homework.
Right.
They do the homework. They're that much more engaged. They see results from the homework, which is great. What's the next commitment that you ask for? I mean, at the end of the day, you're running a business. You're doing this because you care about the field, but also, there should be an upshot to the business. So where do you get to the commitments that are like, this is awesome. I'm seeing this on my income statement at the end of the year?
I think there's two things. One is obviously because I run a business and the business does this for companies, it would be great to be hired, but there's also an opportunity for speaking engagements. So if you'd like help in doing this and you need extra arms and legs to do it, we can do that. Or I'm speaking at conferences, I'm speaking at trade shows, I'm speaking at association events. So there's places where you can go and have additional information that helps you track through your homework and make sure you're doing the right things and asking the right questions. And so it just depends on what your level of commitment is and what your budget is, and whether or not you have the team to help you or if you need help.
Cool. So we've fleshed out this process. I want to ask you before we wrap up, because I know how busy you are, even without the 7,000 emails. But throughout this launch, this is your first book, right?
It is.
And it's as first books go, this is like a home run. You're on the New York Times bestseller list. You sold 3 weeks worth of books in one day. You've multiplied your speaking fees. You're picking up contracts. This is a pretty successful launch, I think, and you're just getting started.
You just need it to keep going.
Well, you keep escalating and rewarding, right? But so takeaways from this launch. What has been the biggest, most valuable learning experience? If you could go to Gini of whether it's 3 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago before the book launched, or whether it is 3 months or 6 months or 9 months way earlier in the development process, what would the most important kind of lesson be? Like, do this better. It's got to be just one.
Okay. It's funny because I wrote a blog post about this the other day. I said the writing part is the easy part. And everybody thinks, sitting down and writing a book, yeah, it's time consuming. You have to really think about it from you have to be really organized about it. You have to think it through in terms of strategically what makes sense to go in what order, and writing it, takes some time. I mean, I wrote nights and weekends. Jeff wrote mostly nights. So, we were giving up our personal time to do it, but that wasn't the hard part. The hard part is the promotion of it. And the hard part is saying to your friends and family, I need you to buy this book. And even though it's only $25 print copy and $10 for an electronic copy, I need you to make this commitment. And it's because I'm a marketer, I'm not a salesperson. It's been, I think, a little more difficult for me in terms of saying, I don't want to come across as the douchebag that's always talking about her book. I want to come across as, hey, there's something really valuable for you here, but I also don't want to be talking about it all the time so that people are like, okay, Jenny, we get it. So I think that's the hardest part, and that's the most valuable lesson, is you really have to understand that there's a lot of promotion, publicity, and marketing that goes into it that you may or may not be prepared for.
And that applies to any big project that you're launching.
Anything, yeah.
I remember way back, this is when maybe I was 22 or 23. This is before I launched my first startup.
It was last year.
It was a little further back than that. I'm turning 29 in July, so I'm starting to get up there. I'm finding the occasional gray hair. This was quite a long time ago. This is before my first big startup. I was sitting down with a friend who has quite a bit more business experience than I do, and talking through this thing, and he was like, okay, you need to shift your focus. And so he drew me on the napkin. He divided it into a 3x3, so there were 9 tiles on it. And he holds it like a diamond shape. And he's like, this middle tile, that's the product. That's all you've been talking about. All these other tiles, that's all the rest of your business.
Yeah.
This is like an accurate proportion. And it's like, there's so much more to it than that. You don't just write the thing and then put it out there and then it magically goes viral like a Will It Blend video. It just doesn't happen that way.
You know, it's funny. Somebody commented on the blog today. I wish I could remember who it was, but it's escaping me right at the second. But they said the funny part about it is everybody looks at you getting to the top of the mountain. So you've climbed this mountain, but nobody saw you climbing the mountain. They just saw the pictures of you at the top of the mountain, and they also don't see you going down the mountain when your quads are sore and your legs are like jelly because you've just climbed this mountain, and now you have to come back down the mountain. They're only looking at that picture of you at the top of the mountain. So I thought that was a really good analogy, and that you're right. It applies to anything. It applies to writing a book, it applies to launching a business, it applies to coming out with a new product, it applies to anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing this with everyone, the many thousands of people who are going to see this, hopefully. And, best of luck that you don't really need with the continued success of the book.
And there you have it, a behind-the-scenes look at the marketing of Marketing in the Round with Gini Dietrich. I want to remind you that this video is part of the Naked Marketing Audit series, and if you want to see the entire series and get access to new audits and other great material as it comes out, you should first of all grab the Naked Marketing Manifesto, which you can do for free without even having to opt in with a name or email address. Just go to bit.ly/get-naked and grab your copy. And then join the Insiders Club, which is also free, and there are instructions inside the manifesto. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've gotten as much out of it as I have. I've thoroughly enjoyed the experience. I look forward to seeing you in future videos and wish you the best of continued success with your own business.
It's really kind of scary, especially with somebody at a really high senior level position like that. And we discovered the reason being is because it's really difficult to measure a lot of the things that we do in marketing communication. And then we also discovered that people were still having we need a Twitter strategy, or now we need a Pinterest strategy, instead of figuring out how to work those tools or whatever tools are available into a bigger marketing strategy. So it's a marketing book, and we hope it has legs beyond, the next 2 or 3 years, because it's really about integrating all of the disciplines: advertising, direct marketing, PR, word of mouth, brand ambassadors, social media, the groundswell, all of that into one big strategy.
Which is what marketing is actually.
Hi there. I'm Danny from Firepole Marketing, and in this Naked Marketing Audit video, you're going to learn some really interesting things. You're going to learn about Gini and Jeff's book bomb marketing campaign for Marketing in the Round. You're going to learn about the unexpected target customer that they didn't even realize they were writing the book for. You're going to learn about the cycle of commitment and reward that they didn't even realize they were creating for their readers, but they were doing it and it was right there, and you'll learn all about it in this video. And you're going to learn what was the most unexpectedly difficult part of this entire book launch campaign for Gini. So it's a fantastic video. There's a lot of great information here for you, and we're really excited to share it with you. This video is part of the Naked Marketing Audit video series, which is
run for my money. Right.
So
I have clones. I don't know about
let's talk about Marketing in the Round. That's what we're here to talk about. So let's start with this. Tell us a little bit of what is Marketing in the Round. What is this book about? Give us the pitch. Sell us all on this amazing book.
So Jeff Livingston is the co-author. He and I really looked at, we didn't want to write another social media book, and we really looked at what's missing in the marketing industry. And we discovered a couple of things. Number one, chief marketing officers only stay in their positions for between 28 and 42 months, so just a little over 2 years to just a little less than 4 years. Which
This with Gini. Here we go.
With Gini Dietrich. She is the CEO and I believe founder of Audit. She blogs at SpinSucks. She is the marketing and PR genius behind SpinSucks Pro. She is the author of a brand new, or I should say co-author of a brand new awesome book called Marketing in the Round that I had the pleasure of reading a couple of weekends ago. I was up north at a long weekend and had a great time reading it. In addition to being like, you can do all these other things. So if anyone's giving me a run for my money as like superhumanly productive, it's you. So, but I still appreciate you.
I don't know though. I'm not sure I'm answering emails from 7,000 people every day. So you definitely give me
showcasing what businesses are doing right in their marketing so you can learn, and what they can be doing better so you can learn. They're bearing all for your benefit, which is what Gini is doing, figuratively speaking, and very much appreciated. If you want to learn more, if you want to see the other audits in the series, if you want to understand the framework that is being used throughout this audit process, you should check out my free Naked Marketing Manifesto. You can get it. It's completely free. You don't even need to opt in with a name or email address. Just go to bit.ly/get-naked and grab your copy. And it's already been downloaded and shared thousands of times. So join a wonderful club and grab your copy. And without further ado, let's dive right in to the audit process.